Joyce Spartonos, a member of the Financial Writers since 1972 or 73.
Okay, Joyce, if you were talking to a group of young student journalists, would you encourage them to get into the business of financial journalism today? And if so, why?
It to me, it's almost like you could have a mystery going for you. I mean, it's not just statistics and, cold fact numbers. And I mean, there are stories there. Hostile takeovers. I mean, my God, that's like a mystery story that you could write novels about. So sure, it's really diverse when you think about it. Because if you're writing about companies and what's happening with them or what's doing with them, there are times when you can uncover lots of mysteries, lots of undercover stuff that's going on. So sure, I'd encourage it. Absolutely.
Okay. In a world where, fake news has become something people throw out constantly, and the climate towards journalists has become somewhat hostile, why do you think organizations like the Financial Writers Association are more important than ever?
Oh, because I mean, there are ethics that you have to stand up to and be willing to partake of to become a member. If I can just go back, I remember a time when, and I don't even know if he's still alive now, but he was a big radio guy by the name of Brad Meltzer. And he filled out an application, and it was like, well, I'm Brad Meltzer, I don't have to fill out the rest of the stuff. And his program always was, about things to invest in, what to stay away from. The senior members of our society loved him. They thought he was the closest thing to God. And actually, he had a fit at the time because we turned him down. And the reason we turned him down for membership was because he during commercials, he would push certain companies that were his sponsors. And so the association said, no way, this is not anybody who's independent of all companies, who can report independently. And he was not a happy camper, but we never did take him in. So there you go. There's the perfect example of why you need the financial writers and organizations like us to always be around, because I mean, it's so important for journalists, no matter what they cover, to be able to cover it freely without fear of government intervention. It's your freedom of the press. It's so important. And organizations like ours make you stand up to a higher code. So it's really important.
Okay. So Joyce, back up just a bit, because it's kind of clipping your chin yeah. Okay. That's yeah, that's a little better. Okay, so why don't you talk a little bit about your involvement with the Financial Writers Association, because you were on both sides of the fence. You were a member, and then you managed the organization. And so what did you take away from the New York Financial Writers Association in your years of involvement with the organization?
Well, I guess the friendships that developed, comes holidays, there's no way that I would miss sending my wishes to Art Szymanski. Alan Wax is on my Facebook account. I mean, it's the friendships and the camaraderie that develop that still, hold true. I mean, I was back and forth with emails to Claudia the day before she died. So it's things like that you can't replace those kinds of business friendships. It's wonderful.
What is your most memorable financial follies experience, especially since you were on both sides of the fence for that?
Well, okay, to begin with, the times that I actually appeared in the follies was so long ago. I don't remember much about them. And on the other end of it, once I became executive secretary, I never actually saw the actual follies presentation because I was always out front. So in other words, I saw dress rehearsal. I saw the rehearsals, I'm trying to remember now, was it every Monday and Thursday? It was 2 times a week. So that was always a fun time. But one of the things that I am proud of is we always had food delivered for the Follies rehearsals. God bless Katz's Deli on Houston Street. They supplied us. And the thing was, there was always so much food that was left, and people were taking home cold cuts and bread. And so I don't remember what year it was, but we decided to get in touch with one of the homeless kitchens, and at the end of the Follies rehearsal, every rehearsal, they would come and pick up the excess food. And that just made us feel good that we could do that.
How has the financial writers changed from when you first joined?
Well, I'm not sure, but certainly the Follies has undergone a change from what I understand. When I first joined, you still had real big mucky mucks, attending the Follies. I mean, there were companies that would take 5, 8, 10 tables. I don't know that that's even done anymore. I have no idea what the Follies is like now, but it's sad to me that it's not the way it was. But times change, and sometimes I guess you really have to think out of the box on how to raise funds, and that's true of every organization. And membership is down in most of them. I mean, I know even from where I live, which is in a wonderful age-related community, I volunteer in lots of organizations, and they're all, wondering, what can we do? How can we encourage membership? I mean, I just think it's a universal thing now. So I again, I can't really tell you how it's changed because I haven't been back to New York in ages, so I don't know.
No, no worries. How about the profession of journalism? What are some of the biggest changes you've seen in that since your first, you first joined the financial writers yourself?
Well, if you're talking journalism in general, I think we sort of have to hang our heads, because what passes now for newscasters, I guess that's what you'd call them, because you certainly can't call them journalists. I mean, I think it's disgusting. Um, it it's so sad because you've got people who are doing nothing but reading from a teleprompter, and I don't want to hear your ideas. Give me the news, give me the facts. Don't embellish it with your feelings or what your boss is telling you. I mean, it's so murky now. And I don't think it was like that when I first got involved. Maybe I'm thinking, or maybe I'm at the age where, oh, it was so different back then. But I do think it was. I mean, a perfect example to me is, and I'm not getting political here at all, it's just my opinion. You had a man like JFK in the office of president, and my God, you had to be deaf, dumb, and blind not to know that this man was a womanizer. However, you never got that from the press. That was a thing aside. The press reported on what he was or wasn't doing as president. And then you come fast forward and you have a Bill Clinton, and my God, and I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just talking from the standpoint of reporting. They pulled that man apart, whether it was right or wrong, but it wouldn't have been done just several years before in Kennedy's time. It's what you did as president or didn't do. But now, I guess what I'm saying is nothing is sacred. To me, I don't know why anybody would want to go into public office in this day and age. Because I mean, what you did as a teenager is gonna come up and bite you in the backside, even if you're 60 or 70 years old. It's wild. And that, I think, is the change I've seen, and not for the better.
What are some of your most vivid memories in association with the New York Financial Writers? What comes to mind? What are things that you tell people about when you think back about being involved with the organization?
One of the things, I guess, would be the luncheons that we used to hold and the people that I got to meet because of that. I mean, we had some wonderful speakers, and our luncheons were always held at Gallagher's Steakhouse. I don't know if you're aware of that. That may have been before your time, but that was intriguing to me. Maybe I had stars in my eyes, whatever. I was much younger, but I was impressed. by the people that I met. So, and if you want, I can tell you one funny incident that happened. It was oh God, I can't remember his name. He was the new head of, was it the Teamsters Union or the UAW? And he walked in and, introduced himself and, yeah, nice to meet you. And in walks his henchmen, and they were with the real pointed toe shoes, and there were two of them. And when they said to me they were with him, and it came right out, I couldn't help it. I looked and I said, I know. I mean, it was so evident. Those are the kinds of things I remember. I had the best time when I was doing your job. I really did. It's the most memories that I have, the funny things. I used to drive into the city for the Follies rehearsals, and I would take home Alan Wax, Sam Glasser, Art Szymanski. And if I wasn't driving, we'd go home on the Long Island Railroad. And oh God, and what we did to Art Szymanski one time on the railroad, we were going home and we were in the bar car. And I got a couple of ice cubes, and Art didn't know, and I stuck them in his pants pocket. And all of a sudden, he started to dribble down the side of his pants. But so those are the kinds of things I remember, all good things. The Financial Writers was very good to me. So
Well,
I'm trying to remember who else. I came in, I guess, at the same time that Dottie Brooks did. And I know Sharon Gamson is still active. Yes. And her beautiful voice. Oh, ask her about the time she sang Tomorrow when she played Annie in the Follies. Oh, what a voice. So, yeah, those are all the kinds of things I remember.